Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk to you about sacred music by Luigi Cherubini. Not exactly a household name, but his sacred music really ought to be because it's marvelous. And this recording, this is a box. It has 7 discs worth of the stuff featuring Riccardo Muti and various orchestras and people. And I really am amazed, absolutely amazed, that this thing is still around. I just can't get over it. It's been out for like years. It hasn't been deleted. And who listens to Cherubini? It's astonishing. Even Warner put their own little Warner thing on it. I never thought that would happen. Never in a billion years did I ever dream that that would happen. Now, consider Cherubini, the composer. He's best known for his really good opera, Medea in Francais, which was a vehicle for the late Maria Callas, the very late Maria Callas, who was an amazing Medea. Boy, was that a role for her. And she sang it regularly, and she was the reason that the opera survived as much as it did. Callas was superb at portraying tragic heroines of noble stature. That's why she was such a great Norma, for example. And Cherubini was great at writing music like that. Cherubini's period, he was one of those fall between the cracks kind of composers. He lived from 1760 all the way to 1842. So he was really a classical period composer, but he lived well into the first decades of the Romantic period, when his style was hopelessly out of date. He was a composition teacher at the Paris Conservatoire. One of his pupils was Berlioz, who hated his guts and had nothing kind to say about him, except, I will tell you the except, because Cherubini was very, very pedagogically correct and stuffy and pedantic, and Berlioz was anything but, and so they didn't get along. They really didn't get along. And Cherubini he wrote lots of operas. He wrote 1 symphony. He wrote 6 very good string quartets, but very, very little instrumental music overall. Tovey famously described Cherubini as a composer whose style consisted of nothing but inhibitions, and as someone who lacked that which could cast out fear. But he was enormously respected. Beethoven respected him tremendously. It was Beethoven who got the idea to do a escape rescue opera, that is Fidelio, from Cherubini, because Cherubini had done something similar. Cherubini was an important guy. And for a composer of pedagogical correctness and a certain aesthetic austerity and self-consciously elevated taste, liturgical music is just the thing. It really is, because, I would say, you could say, if you wanted to be kind of snarky about it, that liturgical music is music that consists mostly of inhibitions. In other words, it has to be correct, it has to be somewhat restrained, it has to be not forward-looking or avant-garde in the traditional sense, at least until way, way later in the 19th century, or until Berlioz got a hold of some of it, for example, for truly grand occasions. But Cherubini's nobility of style, his real melodic gift, he wrote some great tunes. His sense of sobriety really, really suits sacred music, particularly sacred music for state occasions, which is what a lot of this stuff is. And so I want to take you through the 7 discs. And what Warner/EMI, whatever they were, has done is they've combined 2 projects. That is all of Muti's Cherubini, which was just magnificent. And very little remarked when it came out. really kind of amazing. And they added to that Neville Mariner's EMI collection of Cherubini overtures, which is very good and really delightful, and no one else would care about that either. But the thing that really gets me about Muti doing this is that no conductor comes up and says, oh, I'm a specialist in composer X, when composer X is someone that nobody really cares about. Like Cherubini, for example. Muti was a great, or is a great Cherubini conductor. He really is. He understands the idiom. He understands its seriousness. He plays it to the nines. It's just amazing. He's a great interpreter of this music. And I personally believe that when the music is good, and this is good music, make no mistake, this is really good music, there's no... a conductor should be permitted to do his best work, or her best work, or their best work. Well, I pick a pronoun these days, you don't know. But the conductors should be allowed to do their best work if it's good music. And this is one of those fortunate happenstances that we come across rather rarely in the major label recorded discography, where you've got a very, very famous conductor who's conducting a very, very not famous composer in an extended series of virtually unknown, definitely not famous works, but they deserve to be better known. And you folks, the serious music lovers, are just the guys and girls and other things to experience that. So let's see what's in here, and we'll take it from there. 7 discs. You get a very nice little booklet. Where's the nice little booklet? Here it is. And it's very inexpensive, too, as I said. It really is. It's just, I'm dazzled that this is still out there. I really am. So, disc number 1, the Mass in F, which is 72 minutes long. This is a serious piece of music, this Mass in F. And it's really very cool. It's a cantata mass, like the B minor mass, or, one of Haydn's big, mass for St. Cecilia, something like that. It's absolutely terrific. And you've got, let's see, a bunch of soloists, 3 soloists, in fact, Ruth Zizak, Herbert Lippert tenor, and Ildar, Abdrazakov bass. This is with Bavarian Radio Forces. And wait a minute, let me put this down here because it's I need some space. There we go. And disc number 2, we have the Missa Solemnis in D minor. This is 77 minutes. These are really big, serious works. I wish I had permission to play samples. Oh, how I wish I could. But I will be hung, drawn, and quartered if I attempt. And this is another with Bavarian Radio Forces, and it is superbly done. I mean, all of these performances are great. They're absolutely as good as you're ever going to hear. I mean, that's just the simple truth. And so you don't have to worry about the fact that I can't play it for you. It's good music, and very good sacred music, as I said. Then we have the Missa Solemnis in E, which is 40 minutes, and a couple motets, an antiphon, and a Nemo Gaudiat, which is a motet, again with Bavarian Orchestra Forces, Bavarian whatever they are, Bavarian Radio, Bavarian, yeah, it's Bavarian Radio, yes, Bavarian Radio Forces. Then we have the Requiem in C minor. Now, the Requiem in C minor, we have to talk about this for a minute here. This is the piece that Berlioz thought was the greatest thing of all the great sacred music that Cherubini wrote. And everybody admired Cherubini's sacred music, whatever else they thought of him. And the Requiem in C minor is a fantastic setting of the Requiem. It's about 50 minutes long. It has no soloists. It's a choral work all the way through. It's in big continuous movements. It's really a wonderful, wonderful work. And it's been recorded a lot of times. Toscanini did it. There are about maybe 10, 12 recordings of it. I'm amazed. This one is certainly among the best. It was used as a coupling to Muti's Verdi Requiem. I'm very curious to know, because, this Muti box is coming out on EMI, whether or not they'll include these choral music discs as well, in just, contrast to actual opera productions. I really don't know what the plan is, and I'm very curious to know. But here is the point. The Dies Irae of the Requiem. Oh, it's so great, and I'm so sorry that I can't play you this recording. So I'm going to perform the opening of the Dies Irae. And I know you people hate me singing, so I'm not going to sing. I refuse to sing. I'm going to do an instrumental approximation. I have my brass instrument here. This is it, this device. And wait till you hear how this comes out. This is the opening, perfectly straight opening of the Dies Irae. Yes, that is the opening of the Dies Irae. Absolutely, tam-tam and all. Isn't that cool? I mean, it really is cool. Actually, you deserve to hear a little more of it. And I have to be honest, I just wanted to do that because happily, there's also a very good recording of the C minor Requiem on Naxos. Thank you, Naxos. I love you. This is really quite good. It's with Diego Faziolis and the Orchestra della Radio Svizzera Italiana. And it's coupled with his funeral march to start off, which is also a nice, dark ceremonial piece. I'm going to play you a bit of the Dies Irae, what happens after the tam-tam crash. Actually, I think my tam-tam sounds a lot better than this tam-tam. So many conductors don't pay any attention to those things. You need to have a really good tam-tam. This is not such a hot tam-tam. But that doesn't matter, because it's the singing ultimately that matters. Here is the opening of the Dies Irae. Great stuff, huh? And Muti's recording of it is just marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. So you have nothing to fear. And it also has a better tam-tam. So that's really good. And let's see what else is on this disc. You get the overtures to Elisa and the overture to Medea, which of course is fairly well known. And then there's, oh my, and look what else they give you. They give you a bit of Medea. De tui figli, tu la madre tu vedi. Oh, this is the parting of Medea to her children before she, kills them and then flies off on her evil chariot. This is Maria Callas with Tullio Serafin. So you get a little bit more of Medea. They don't even tell you this is here. I mean, it's, I guess they don't particularly care. But that's really cool. And that's disc 4 already. Now, disc 5, here we are. Disc 5 has the Missa Solemnis in G, which is 45 minutes long, and then 3 more overtures. You get L'Hôtellerie Portugaise, the Hotel Portugal, or the Portuguese Hotel, Les Deux Journées, the famous overture, and Anacreon, the overture to that. And then we have disc let's see here, 6. You get, oh, this is a great work. This is the Mass for the Coronation of Charles X. The Requiem in C minor was written to commemorate the death of Louis XVI around, I think it was 1816 or something like that. But this is the Mass for the Coronation of Charles X. This is a really, really good piece. And it comes with a marche religieuse to conclude the piece, which is quite marvelous. And then you get the overtures to Feniska and I could never pronounce this one, Les Abencerrages, that overture as well. These are with Neville Marriner and the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. And the sacred works, of course, are by Muti. But this Mass, this Coronation Mass, is just a real perfect piece for what it is. Not too long, not too short, wonderfully ceremonial, solemn and beautiful and elevated in tone. I mean, you got to give a guy credit for doing that. You know what I mean? You really do. I mean, he deserves the credit for the obvious sincerity and effort and talent and, yes, inspiration that goes into such things. And then finally, last but not least, you get his last Requiem. Cherubini wrote 2. This is the Requiem in D minor. It's written for male chorus only. It's very, very austere. And there's another really great performance of this by Markevich with the Czech Phil and those people. And that, I assume, will be out in the Markevich box, but it was a TG original. It's a very famous performance of it. Quite marvelous. And this is suitably different from Muti's. This is a beautiful setting. And you also get a piece simply called Concert Overture, which is a concert overture. And then finally, Sonata number 2 in F for horn and strings with Barry Tuckwell. That's with Marriner. That's that stuff. So that is the Muti Cherubini box. And I really think, I just think that this is one of those library editions. It belongs in every serious collection. Let me do it this way so you can see it. There it is. There it is. It really does. It's an important collection of works. And they're unique. You're not going to find all this stuff anywhere else. And you're not going to find it so well performed and recorded. And you're not going to find it for so little expense. It's one of those real sleepers in the discography. And it's available. Get it while you can. Get it while you can. If you care about sacred music, if you like choral music. I mean, if you don't, okay, don't, But it really is great, and it deserves your time and attention. If you have any interest in this stuff at all, I really, really recommend it as strongly as I possibly can, because, we got to keep on listening. And here's some really unusual and interesting stuff to listen to. So thank you for joining me. Enjoy your Cherubini liturgical music. Yes, it's off the beaten path. Yes, it is specialized, but not that specialized. Anybody, you like the Missa Solemnis? You like the B minor Mass? You like Haydn's Masses? You're going to love this stuff. There's no question about it. You're going to love it. I guarantee. Thank you. Take care.